Good morning to all of you. Good morning. I need energy. I'm an energetic guy. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. Thank you. I'm just going to share a few thoughts, but first off, let me express immense appreciation to the 8 individuals, the collective here, the Greenwich Board of Education. As you'll see as you get to study my resume, get to know me, I've been fortunate to work with all levels of educational leadership in all kinds of communities. People who went on to be presidents, lucky enough to overlap with them, people went on to be the current Secretary of Education, people who went on to be the Ohio Superintendent of Education, worked with boards that were phenomenal, and I'm currently on a little Catholic board where I went in and had to clean it up. Let me tell you that this is a group of 8 individuals who, as a collective, Greenwich should feel incredibly proud about. I'm a straight shooter, I'm an honest guy, and that is an honest, straight statement in the sense of the dedication, the integrity, and the tough questions that they put me through, and even Catherine, around all the types of things that matter to Greenwich, and most importantly, matter to the children of Greenwich. They're not children in the high school, so young adults, the young people of Greenwich. So first and foremost, please recognize that in a community that's marked by civic dedication, volunteerism, I understand there's some 230 individuals who give of their time for all types of governmental purposes in Greenwich. This group of 8 sets the pace as far as I'm concerned. And again, I say that based on all kinds of perspectives and knowledge. Second thing, let me thank, if I may be so personal, Roger. Because it turned out yesterday, if I'd done my Google homework when I tend to do that, Roger and I share a lot of overlaps. As you know, Roger's in Ohio. Roger knows well the person who convinced me to leave Chicago to go to Cleveland. In that point in my career, I was dying to get back into pre-K through 12 work directly, not just stay in a foundation. A gentleman named Steve Minter, who was one of the first undersecretaries in the first Department of Education in the U.S., knows Roger very well. So there are all these other connections. And I want to say to you again, based on lots of perspective, that Roger deserves all sorts of applause, all sorts of accolades for stepping back into Greenwich this year to make sure things were smooth and strong for whomever the new superintendent would be. But now that is me, greatly appreciative that an interim superintendent has come in to keep things stable and allow Greenwich to go to even higher levels. Let me just kind of zero in on 2 points that have been mentioned here. Intellectual rigor and civic dedication. Those would be my phrases, my watchwords, my driving energy around those. Again, intellectual rigor, maybe it's a river, but intellectual rigor, civic dedication. And the point on that is, and there are a few people in this community now who are going to go, yeah, I went to college with Bill. I never connected intellect with that guy. But my father grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. My grandfather worked in the post office. My grandmother, McKersie, was a school teacher. The Navy put my dad through school. The Air Force put my uncle through school. My dad's gone on to have an illustrious academic career in institutions that may matter in Greenwich, University of Chicago, Cornell, MIT. But it was that route of access through education, first-generation college goers, and Paterson, I know, is not too far from here. My own mother, growing up in Holyoke and then in South Hadley, her parents didn't go to college. She was first-generation in Mount Holyoke and then Radcliffe. And in Catherine's family, which I'll get to in a second, education has been that springboard. So many people in Greenwich may not have been first generation. Many are. And that's frankly very exciting to me in terms of the increasing diversity here. But my own background, and it's said a lot, but it's very deep and personal for me, education made the difference. I would not be sitting here if, and my grandfather McKersie dropped out of school at age 12 to support his family when my great-grandfather passed away. It was education that allowed my dad to make the moves he has, and I wish they could be here right now. They're very alive at 82, and everything they heard, they go, my goodness, that's our son. But that's what I come from, and it's that sense of a deep working class tradition carried forward now to, obviously, in my own life and a very comfortable lifestyle. But in there is that intellectual rigor, but it's that sense of giving back, the civic dedication. What attracts me to Greenwich is that this is a community of leaders. It's a community known across the country, certainly nationally. As I was quietly talking to a small group of emeritized superintendents who I talk with very closely, districts such as Milton, Belmont, major districts in Ohio, just keeping it very confidential, They all said, Greenwich, my goodness, you know, that would be an incredible opportunity. It's a place of excellence. It's a place of striving. My former boss at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, who's the dean there now, Kathy McKersie, after she was called secretly by one of the reference checks, I get an email from her saying, Bill, you're not just going to be a superintendent, quote unquote, Bill, you're not just going to be a superintendent, you're going to be a superintendent, one of the best districts we have. That's the dean of the Harvard Graduate School of Education speaking. So the sense of leadership, intellectual rigor, but tied to this sense of dedication, giving back. You see that amongst the 8 here, you see that with the 230 or so, but every student who leaves the Greenwich school system not only has to be able to use their mind well in all ways, be able to do the art and the wonderful work that we see here in this building, in this room today, do the sports that I understand are very strong in Greenwich, but to be able to use their minds well all the time going forward and be constant learners, such as I have been. That slow start, but it picked up pace such that, yes, I got a PhD at the University of Chicago, and that's something I'm very proud of. But it's then that civic dedication, that sense of giving back. Couple quick things. You've had a good number of superintendents here. Often when superintendents come in, and I've worked with a lot of superintendents, worked with a lot of districts that have that same type of churn that has been here. New superintendents show up with 5, 6, 7 new plans, new ideas that they say, this is what we're going to do. That does not work. That is not my approach. My approach will be to be actively listening. That's starting today. I'm going to be in every single school before I go back up to Boston late on Friday. There'll be quick visits, but to me that's a statement to say I care about being in the schools. I care about having, as we now say, boots on the ground. I care about what I'm going to hear from the principals. I care about what I'm going to hear about from the teachers. Today I'll be with the Greenwich High School student government. I care about what I hear from the students. I'll be with the PTA later. I care about what parents say. Ultimately, though, the group here, with all that input, has to make tough decisions. In the least, everyone in Greenwich has to know that they've been heard, they've had a chance to have their say, then decisions will have to be made. And the decisions many will agree with, many may not at any one point, but at least they say we were heard, we were listened to, and that this is a place of a leadership of great continuity and long-term attention. So here are the things I do care about, and I'm about done. First is I care greatly about high-quality school leadership. That's first and foremost principals, but also teachers. And on the site visit, it was somewhat random, which actually was the best thing. If you do research, random gives you the best information. Randomly, some teachers were bumped into who said, yeah, Bill has helped us begin to develop as leaders. But certainly principals and then teachers. Second, it's caring about developing the capacity of our professionals, the principals and teachers in particular, but also that leadership team, the cabinet and others. And making sure that professionally the superintendent and the board are working very, very well together. So there's capacity building in that. So that's a second key piece. The third is that the learning environments are places that are very conducive to intellectual rigor and civic dedication. That's as simple as, are the buildings clean, neat, and presentable, through are we using the best and advanced technology possible to make our schools wonderful places. Another key piece is family and community. Are parents feeling active here? Are they feeling listened to? But particularly on the community side, this community gives immensely to the schools. And the community has to feel that that is an investment. Greenwich understands investment in all sectors. And that they say, this is an investment in our schools. And we're proud to make that investment. Because if we're going to stand as a strong community, that's what I was saying to the appointed and elected leaders yesterday, the schools have to help the whole Greenwich community be superb. So family and community is critical. And lastly, maybe most importantly, is ambitious instruction. Common Core matters. I can teach that. I can learn that. I'm looking forward to handing off that first line of responsibility on teaching that, but I understand deeply the Common Core because in the Catholic school world, we don't have to adopt it. In fact, there's pushback on it. But we and our team have dug into it very deeply to say there's great elegance, great strength to help us as a community now, Greenwich, understand its schools, understand learning, understand progress, and move forward. I've been in this business 30 years. I've seen many panaceas come along. I've seen many quick fixes come along. I'm a critical customer of anything. The Common Core, the beauty will be in the delivery. The challenge will be in the delivery. But at least as a concept, it's based on 20, 30 years of great thinking. And it's been developed by teachers and content experts. So the Common Core is key to ambitious instruction, but then it's the capacity of the professionals to work well. That's what I stand for, those 5 areas. Hopefully you're hearing that, not things that shift or move in the wind or disappear quickly, but 5 core areas that bring you intellectual rigor, bring you civic dedication, and that's what we need to have here.